I hope you are ready for part 2 of the reasoning with Roger, Mr. Reggae Archive Steffens. I know you enjoyed part 1. And part 2, you're going to learn a lot. So, enjoy the reasoning.
So now you took that opportunity of taking photographs. You brought that to Jamaica, and you created an amazing collection of photographs of our culture. I have.
Have you seen this book?
I have not seen that book, The Family Acid Jamaica. I've never seen that book, but I saw your scrapbook.
Ah, yeah.
Your scrapbook. I have actually given your scrapbook to my employees to learn about, because I employ youngsters, right? And so I give you a scrapbook to them and say, look, read this. Come back and we talk about music and we talk about our culture, and then we can move on forward. And they love it.
They love it. I'm glad.
So
that was so much fun putting that together.
Man, that book, listen, I collect, and not like you, but I collect music also. And I have it in a prominent place on one of my music shelves, that this is like part 1. This is what you do first, you know? And then Randy's collection is right after. And then, you know, you have Studio 1 and you have, you know, but that scrapbook is part 1, you know? So I give thanks for the energy for that, you know what I mean? Because all those photographs are yours, yeah?
Mine and Peter Simon's. The bulk of the photographs are Peter's, but the artifacts are all from my archives. The stuff you pull out, the posters and so forth, and then DVD excerpts from my old TV show. I have the original of that Polish poster that's in the envelope in the back cover. I have it on the wall right over here to my left. Solidarity, anti-apartheid, human rights, reggae concert in the shipyards in Gdansk. That's one of my favorite all-time posters.
Yeah, I really, really have gone through that scrapbook so many times, you know. And
good. I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah, man. No, it's.
Have you seen my Marley book?
That one, I have seen it. I have seen it. Actually, I think I read that book.
It's the 7th book I've done about Bob and reggae, but it came out 3 years ago.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that.
So much things to say, and because of my love for Rolling Stone, I'm particularly pleased when the paperback came out last year. Rolling Stone reviewed it, and the headline referred to the 700 Bob Marley books that exist in the world.
Wow.
In many languages. And the headline of the review said, "This might be the best Bob Marley book ever."
And so your head just felt like you were back in Nam.
Oh, God. So I'll tell you, though, you know Kwame Dawes? He wrote Bob Marley, Lyrical Genius. Have you ever met him?
No, I have never.
He'd be a wonderful person for you to do on your show. He's an actor and a professor and just one of the coolest people I've ever known. And he gave me, I think one of my favorite reviews. He said, it's kind of poetic too. "All true gospels are shaped by the accounts of eyewitnesses. Roger Steffens has collected these accounts and has given us a book of truths complicated by the bending of memory, motive, and mystery. The effect is a fresh and renewed affirmation of Marley's genius, humanity, and mystique. This book is a triumph of the storytelling virtuosity of Jamaican people." And I just love that, because it's not Timothy White making up bedroom talk. It's not fictionalized stories. It's 75 people, including Bob, telling their relationship to Bob in their own words, without much more than my introducing who they are and placing them in context. This is Jamaicans telling Bob's life story.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you have that book, and I will have to get it now. Hopefully it's in Kindle form.
There is a Kindle format, yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
And there's an audio book that I had to audition to read my own book.
Is that right?
Oh, those bastards. Yeah.
So did you get the job?
Well, for my audition,
Yes.
I chose the thickest patois part of the book.
That's right.
I said, all right, mother, you nail that. You see if you can do that.
That's right. That's right. So it's on Audible, is that right?
On Audible, yeah.
Beautiful. I'll be getting that one. I want to talk more about the Jamaican influence in your life, right? Because obviously 1976 was not the last time you went.
First of 30.
First of 30 times. Okay. So now, what were you trying to accomplish, if anything at all, once you decided that this culture is something that I'm interested in? What were you trying to accomplish for the culture?
Well, I've always been a writer and a speaker my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I was the New Jersey State Oratory Champion when I was a senior in high school.
I'm not surprised.
The Constitution, a barrier against tyranny. We learned how false that was. So whenever a subject interests me, I'll keep a file on it. So when that article in Rolling Stone came out, I put it in a manila envelope, and I look back now and I said, well, that was the start of Roger Steffens' Reggae Archives, which fills 7 rooms of the house now. We've had to move twice to house the archive. So I'm a Gemini. You read about Gemini, that's me. I'm a classic Gemini. I'm the messenger of the gods. I'm always spreading things from one place to another that I think other people would like. So when something excites me, I want to turn all my friends onto it. And that's what happened with reggae, and I figured if I'm really going to start proselytizing for reggae, I've got to get down to Jamaica and see what things are really like, no matter how dangerous it appears to be. And it was interesting. We had a letter of introduction to a family in Lucy, little town halfway between Mobay and Negril.
Right.
And we ended up being welcomed warmly, and they let us stay with them for 3 weeks in 76. And we stayed pretty much on the North Coast. We went to Negril. There was nothing in Negril. It was a 7-mile long empty beach. There was only a South Pacific thatched hut toward the end of the beach that was actually a dental clinic from a couple of Long Island dentists who went down there every winter for 4 months and did free dental work for the people. But it looked like, something on Fiji. In fact, there's a picture of it in the book. Let's see if I can find it easily. And so we were living a real remote country life during most of the time we spent there, and getting to know the people and walking cows in the morning on cow paths, and going down to the beach with the locals. And here, look at that.
That was on the West End?
That was the only structure for 7 miles on the beach.
My goodness.
In Negril in 1976.
Where do we get this book?
That's what I'm talking about.
I know. Where do we get that book?
It's available on the site of the Rock House, the hotel in Negril, which published this. So rockhouse.com, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And it's 40 years of my Jamaican photography from our arrival in 76 through 2016.
Wow.
Now I've lost my train of thought. What was I telling you?
So you were talking about that you went to Lucy.
Yeah. And then, the end of the first week was that Sunday afternoon when every hour on the hour, Michael Manley's speech saying there was an imminent invasion of Jamaica about to happen, and he'd had to declare a state of emergency. Well, what he was saying turned out to be fact. I did a lot of work over the years with a truly extraordinary film director named Jeremy Marr, who did roots rock reggae, and he did rebel music about Bob. And Rhythm of Resistance, about South African music, which is where I first learned about Ladysmith Black Mambazo. And I'm the guy who turned Paul Simon on to Ladysmith Black Mambazo from the Graceland album. And Konkombe, about the music of Nigeria, King Sunny Ade and those people. And when he did rebel music, he wanted to interview Philip Agee. I don't know if you're familiar with his story. Philip Agee was a CIA agent who was based in part in the 70s in Jamaica. And he was disaffected from the CIA and wrote a tell-all book that named names of secret agents in countries all over the world. And it got some of those people killed.
Sure, he was killed.
No, they put a hit on him, so he took refuge in Cuba. Castro gave him exile in Cuba, where he opened a travel agency in Havana. And in 1986, Jeremy Marr, the film director, went from his home in England to Havana to interview him. And he was particularly concerned about the rumors that never end that the CIA had something to do with the assassination attempt on Bob's life. So he said to Agee, he asked him what he thought about that. And he says, well, I heard that too. So I went through all the secret files in the office in Kingston when I was working there. And there was nothing at all that indicated the CIA had any connection to the assassination attempt. And I've said that to people and been accused of being a CIA agent for saying that. But, you know, until I see proof, I'm not going to tell people that.
Right.
I don't think it's true.
The telling of our cultural history and the impact of our culture, because I mean, you've been all over the world, and you've been introduced to many different cultures. What is it about the Jamaican culture that just has that hook that won't let go?
Well, you got the best soundtrack.
That is the truth. That is the truth. I can't argue there.
Right?
Can't argue there.
That's top of the line right there. And, you know, I was interviewed a little over a year ago by a man named Phil Kogan. And Phil Kogan, you may know his work. He does a series called The Great Race. I think it's a CBS reality.
Oh, it's about life in New York or something like that?
No. It's you go around the world looking for clues.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Yes.
He's won
The Amazing Race.
The Amazing Race, not the
right.
Great. Yeah. The Amazing Race. He's won 10 Emmys.
Yeah.
And he told me that he had been to 130 countries. And in every single country, bar none, he has found evidence of Bob Marley.
Absolutely.
And he wanted to know why.
Yeah.
So he came and did this interview with me about that. It's kind of your question too. I mean, how many tiny countries? You're talking about an island with at most 3 million people now, right?
At most, when it's popping at the edges.
Yeah, we got cities bigger than that.
That's
in
right.
America. And they have a culture that's not, you know, when it started out, reggae was not island-wide. It wasn't even city-wide. It was Western Kingston music.
That's right.
You know, it couldn't even get airplay on the radio.
Absolutely.
And to see that, and the underpinning of its greatest music, of course, is the philosophy of Rastafari. So as the music spread, so too did the movement of Rastafari. I hesitate to say religion, but it's a movement. It's the movement of like-minded Jah people. I mean, hippies really love it.
Right.
Because everybody who is into an herbal culture can relate to the sacramentalization of Jah Holy Herb by the Rasta movement.
Mm.
And I recently read a manuscript for a book by Leonard Howell's son. And it reveals, he was raised in the commune that Howell set up in Pinnacle, and how much of the so-called rules of Rasta came way after Howell's community. A lot of Western Kingston people, you know, and the attitude toward women, which was not the attitude that existed in the Pinnacle compound. A lot of the early movement there was run by women, and they were not in any subservient positions. So all of this stuff was added by men, and it wasn't always redounding to the benefit of the female part of the population. And that has caused controversy as Rasta has spread around the world. Who speaks for Rasta? Who's the Rasta Pope? You know, it's not supposed to have him. It's all,
No.
It's like the Protestants with individual interpretation. So, you know, don't tell me I have to do this or I can't do that. You know, it's between you and Jah, you and God. Yeah. But
I noticed that you refer to yourself as Ras Raja. Are you a
mainly for the alliteration?
Aha. Okay. All right. So then,
Bob called me Roja.
I didn't hear you.
Bob called me Roja. He wouldn't say Roger. Roja, come here, Roja. So I added the Ras.
Okay.
Because everybody in reggae has a nickname.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Everybody in Jamaica has a nickname.
Yeah, man.
If you eat too much, they call you Munchie. It's just the way it goes. If you're a foodie, you name Munchie. If you're fat, them name you Tiny. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
If you play drums, you're drummy. If you play bass,
you're drummy. Exactly. So
Munchie. I love that. I gotta remember.
Yeah, man, Munchie. And they usually say Munchie.
Munchie, I should say.
Munchie, yeah.
The accent.
I was actually reading someone's book last night, and she mentioned her nickname because she's a foodie, and so when she was a child, they call her Munchie. So, but all right. So as far as the influence on you now, if you were to look at, and I think you answered this question in the first time we spoke, but if you were to look at the people you have come in contact with over these years, based on the Jamaican culture, which of them had the biggest impact on your life?
Well, Bob, without question.
Okay. Why?
Everything I've come in contact with about Bob has made up the essence of my archive. But that brings me to Peter and Bunny. I spent 3 weeks with my partner, Leroy Jody Pearson, locked in a hotel room in Kingston with Bunny Wailer, working on his now aborted autobiography. 1,800 pages sitting in a box behind me. He told us the entire history of the Wailers. I mean, he and Bob were raised as brothers. You know, Bob's mother and Bunny's father had a kid together even. And we played every single song the Wailers ever made and got the complete story for it. A lot of that, thankfully, was included in my discography book that Leroy and I did, the definitive.
Right, that's 20 CDs, right?
Material worth?
No, the 20 CDs. Didn't that from 1976 to what was it? 1976?
Oh, the box sets we put together.
Right.
With Bruno Bloom in Paris. I think altogether 15 CDs of various material from the end of Coxsone to the beginning of Island. Waylon Solom, Tough Gong, and the Lee Perry material, the Leslie Kong material, the independent producers material, all of that. Yeah. And but that's everything from Judge Not and Simmer Down all the way up to 2005.
And that book is the explanation of those songs, or
no, not. I think if you're looking for the catalog of the Wailers and Family Man, you go to John Missouri's Wailing Blues, the story of Bob Marley's Wailers, which is essentially the autobiography of Family Man Barrett. John Missouri did that. And then the other one, let's see. The other one would be the Island catalog, which is Bob Marley, Lyrical Genius. Those two books will give you a blow by blow of every track. But what this does, this is the equivalent of a college textbook, something they might do for Duke Ellington or Miles Davis.
Okay.
This is the only true discography that has ever been done for a Jamaican artist, by which you have to have the names of the singers, the players of instrument and what instrument they played, the engineer, the producer, the name of the studio, the number of tracks on the master tape back in the day when they did tapes, the producer, and most important, the matrix numbers in the wax of the records, so you know which take on the master tape was used to press that record. Did you ever look on the inside part of 45 and see those matrix numbers? And they usually say F something, like FCD would be for Cox and Dodd, FLP would be for Lee Perry, and so forth. And then it would be 2713-2. That means the second take on that master tape was used to press that single. So
all these years I've been buying music, I never really paid attention because I started out in sound system business, right? So, most of our stuff when we want to be significantly special is white labeled, right? We just cover it and then write whatever we want so that nobody can steal the thing. But you just gave me an education. You just gave me an education with the. I knew that I know the codes. But I didn't know that the LP stands for Lee Perry and the CD stands for Cox and Dodd. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do I get that book?
Well, I think it's still available in Jamaica. As somebody told, actually, I think it was our pal, Jeffrey, who said that he saw a copy of that for $140 on eBay.
Oh.
And there's cartons of them sitting at the Jamaican publishers at Mike Henry's office in Kingston.
Okay.
So don't pay that kind of ridiculous money. I think Mike Henry should start putting it up on the internet. So if you have friends in Kingston, ask them to go buy Mike Henry's publishing company, and they can probably get it for $20. I met Bob first in '78 in Santa Cruz. On the 18th of July in '78. And 3 nights later, there was a show in Berkeley at the Greek Theater. And there was a man handing out these posters in the line to promote the show 3 nights later. And Junior Marvin, I met before the show, and he took me backstage to meet Bob. And that night, Bob signed it. Seco, Family Man, Tyrone, Waya, Carly, Al, and Junior. And it took me 14 years to get the rest, but we've got Judy, Rita, Marcia, that Bunny. The only person who wouldn't sign it was Peter Tosh.
Yes.
Not sign no BC Bob Marley poster. So Joe Higgs, Pearl, sister to Bunny and Bob. Yeah. Bob's mother, Desi Smith, his personal assistant. Who's this over here? Sharon and Ziggy, Stephen and Sedella, Martha Velez, the only artist who produced outside of the Whalers. Dennis Thompson, his engineer. We got Carl Pitterson, one of his producers. Danny Sims, the mafioso. Chris Blackwell, Don Taylor. Got the Saints and the Sinners. And then there's a whole bunch more on the back. Altogether, there's 41 signatures.
Wow.
Okay. You gotta put that down so that I can. May I take a picture of it?
Of course you may.
Okay.
My goodness. Beautiful.
Oh, it doesn't recognize me with the mask.
Oh, you have the face thing.
Yeah. Okay, you go first.
No, man, go on and do your thing, man.
Thank you for checking us out on Good News Jamaica TV for content that informs, inspires, and transforms. Please like, share, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more positive Jamaica content. Walk good,